God is about to shock you with a breakthrough you didn't expect. I don't say that lightly, and I don't say it to excite your emotions. I say it because there is a stirring in the spiritual realm, a divine shift that cannot be seen by the eyes of the flesh, but it is already moving behind the veil. There are moments when God steps in so suddenly, so mightily, and so overwhelmingly that your entire life is shaken out of stagnation and pulled into purpose. And I came to tell you, this is one of those moments. You may not see it right now. In fact, what you see may look like the exact opposite of a breakthrough. It may look like loss. It may look like silence. It may look like pain. You've been walking through a dry season, praying with no answer, sowing with no harvest, and waiting with no sign. But hear me with every fiber of your spirit. God is not ignoring you. God is not finished. God is not withholding from you out of cruelty. He is preparing something so big, so beyond your imagination, that if He showed it to you right now, you wouldn't believe it. That is the nature of God. He hides miracles in the shadows. He buries treasure in the dirt. He births victory in the middle of battles. When you feel like all doors are shut, when people have walked away, when you've cried the last tear you thought you could cry, get ready. That's the moment God steps in with His mighty hand and does what only He can do. You see, when people think it's over, God begins. When man gives up, God begins to write a new chapter. He doesn't need a committee to approve your destiny. He doesn't need public support to move mountains for you. All He needs is His will, and when His will aligns with the timing, nothing in heaven or on earth can stop what He's about to do in your life. Some of you have been living in a place of disappointment for so long that you've started calling it normal. You've accepted delays as denials. You've believed the lie that maybe God doesn't care. But let me awaken your spirit. God is watching every moment, every tear, every silent scream of your heart. And not one of them is wasted. Not one of them has fallen unnoticed. God is a master planner. He uses time as a tool, not as a trap. Just because He hasn't moved yet doesn't mean He won't. In fact, He often waits until the situation is impossible, so that when the breakthrough comes, no one gets the credit but Him alone. Some of you are about to be shocked, not because you deserve it, not because you earned it, but because God is good. Because God delights in surprising those who have trusted Him in the dark. You've passed the test not by shouting, but by staying still. Not by winning, but by not quitting. And now comes the moment where God shows you why it was worth it. He is about to bring restoration where there was devastation. He is about to give answers where there was only confusion. He is about to open a door so wide that the very people who doubted you will have to admit, that was the hand of God. You didn't see it coming. You thought the delay was a denial, but it was preparation. God had to remove the wrong people. He had to close the wrong doors. He had to let you experience that pain so you would not settle in the wrong place. What looked like rejection was redirection. What felt like abandonment was protection. God was shielding you from what you didn't even know was a trap. And now that the stage is cleared, now that your heart is refined, He can trust you with the blessing that won't destroy you. Some of you have been standing on the edge of a breakthrough, and you didn't even know it. You've been praying, fasting, crying, staying faithful, and it felt like nothing was moving. But in the realm of the unseen, God has been rearranging the battlefield. He's been orchestrating connections, shifting people, setting up divine appointments. What you thought was stillness was really strategy. What you thought was delay was really design. God never sleeps. God never forgets. God never overlooks those who walk upright before Him with a sincere heart. And if you've been faithful in the dry place, the flood is coming. Let me tell you something deep. Sometimes God hides your breakthrough so well that even you can't see it. Why? Because He wants to know if you trust Him or the result. Do you trust the process or only the promise? Will you worship when nothing is changing? Will you still believe when all evidence says otherwise? That is where faith is forged. That is where destinies are shaped, not in the victory, but in the waiting. And those who wait with faith are those who will receive a reward that will make every sleepless night worth it. God is not late. He's not pacing the floors of heaven wondering what to do. He is the author and the finisher. He wrote your story before you were born. And every chapter, even the ones filled with tears, serve a divine purpose. You may not understand now, but one day you'll look back and say, that delay saved me, that heartbreak redirected me, that loss made room for something greater. God doesn't waste your pain. He multiplies it into power. He turns your suffering into strength. And the breakthrough He's about to send will make you forget the suffering you endured. Some of you are about to see acceleration. What should have taken 10 years will happen in 1. What seemed impossible will be done with ease. Not because of your strength, but because of God's favor. When His hand is on you, laws bend, rules break, and protocols shift. People will try to explain your breakthrough with logic, but they won't be able to. Because what's coming is not logical, it's supernatural, it's divine, it's unexpected, and it will be undeniable. You thought you were forgotten, you thought you missed your season, but God doesn't work on man's calendar. He controls time. And when He says it's your moment, even time has to obey. So don't compare your journey to others. Don't envy their progress. What God has for you is tailor-made. And when it shows up, it will fit your soul so perfectly that you'll know, this could have only come from God. You may be living with the consequences of decisions you regret. You may feel like your past has disqualified you from the future. But God is the only one who can use a broken vessel and still pour glory through it. He doesn't choose the qualified. He qualifies the chosen. And if He's placed His hand on you, there's nothing in your history strong enough to cancel your destiny. The breakthrough that's coming will not just bless you, it will redeem every dark chapter of your life. People who thought they had the final word on your story are about to be silenced by what God is about to do. God sees what you've endured. He knows the nights you cried yourself to sleep. He knows how you smiled in public but were breaking in private. And He's saying to you now, I have not forgotten you. He is about to reward you in public for what you endured in private. The very people who mocked you will witness your rising. The same mouths that gossiped about your pain will testify about your promotion. Because when God steps in, He doesn't just fix things, He elevates. Some of you are about to walk into rooms you never applied for. You're about to receive calls you didn't expect. Doors will open, not because you knocked, but because God told them to open. Blessings are chasing you down even now. You've been faithful, and now favor is finding you. You've been hidden, but now heaven is about to highlight you. You've been tested, but now the testimony is about to be written with fire. Don't be surprised if it happens suddenly. That's how God works. He will keep you waiting for years, and then in one moment, everything shifts. One conversation, one encounter, one opportunity. That's all it takes. And suddenly, your life will change forever. That's the power of God's breakthrough. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't follow a process. It just shows up and changes everything. So don't give up now. Don't quit in the last mile. You're closer than you think. The pain you feel is not the end. It's the push before the promise. The pressure is a sign that something is being birthed. And the enemy would not be attacking you this hard if something powerful wasn't on the horizon. If he's fighting you, it's because he knows what's coming. But what he fears cannot be stopped because God is behind it. This breakthrough will not just change your life, it will change generations. Your children will benefit from it. Your legacy will be marked by it. People will look at you and say, "And how did you survive that storm?" And you'll simply point to the sky and say, "God." Because only He could have brought you through what you went through. Only He could have turned that pain into purpose. Only He could have lifted you from the pit to the palace. God is about to shock you. Not just bless you, but shock you. Prepare your heart, stay in position. Keep your spirit clean. Don't compromise now. Don't get distracted. Don't lower your standard to fit in with the crowd. The breakthrough God has for you is holy, it's sacred, it's meant for those who refuse to bow to pressure. Stay faithful, stay humble, and stay ready, because the hour is near, the window is opening, the blessing is moving in your direction. What you thought was lost is being restored. What you thought was dead is being resurrected. And the life you thought was stuck is about to move with such force that you'll barely remember what it felt like to be stuck. God is rewriting the story. He's flipping the script. He's placing His seal on what the world tried to cancel. There are moments in your life where the weight feels unbearable. Days when the silence of heaven makes you question if your prayers even reach the clouds. Times when the doors keep closing, the losses pile up, and you wonder if this is what the rest of your life will look like. But hear this, God never starts something He doesn't intend to finish. When your soul is weary and your faith feels like it's flickering like a candle in the wind, that's when the hand of God is closest. God often allows the winds to blow not to destroy you, but to remove what cannot stay in the next season of your life. God is not distant from your struggle. He is not indifferent to your pain. He is the one who formed you in the depths of your sorrow. And when the world overlooks you, God is the one who sees you. He is not just preparing a blessing, He is preparing you for the blessing. Because not every good thing is a God thing unless it arrives in His timing, under His protection, and by His design. And this next breakthrough you're about to receive is not just a reward. It is a revelation. It will reveal to you how deeply you are known, how carefully you are chosen, and how thoroughly you are loved by the one who rules the heavens and the earth. The reason it's taken this long is because the foundation had to be deepened. God doesn't want to give you a blessing you can't carry, and so, in His mercy, He delayed it, not to punish you, but to strengthen you. Because what is coming is not a trickle, it is a flood, and you must be rooted deep enough so that the weight of the blessing doesn't crush you, but carries you to a higher place of responsibility, influence, and spiritual depth. This is not just about comfort, this is about calling. And what God is about to release in your life is directly tied to the impact He created you to make. Some of you have lost everything. You've stood in the ruins of dreams that never came to pass. You've buried people you loved. You've watched opportunities disappear and wondered if anything good would ever come from the ashes. But God doesn't leave His people in ruins. He is the restorer. He is the one who brings beauty from the ashes, not a return to what you lost, but a blessing so divine, so supernatural, that you'll understand why the fire had to burn the way it did. Because without that fire, you wouldn't have seen what was fake. You wouldn't have been freed from what was poisonous. And you wouldn't have been able to rise into what God always had in store. What God is preparing you for will silence every doubt that's ever crossed your mind. It will settle the score in your soul. It will remind you that waiting on God is never wasted. Because when God delivers, He doesn't do it halfway. He doesn't bless you with conditions. He doesn't elevate you so others can applaud. He does it so that you become the evidence that trusting Him works. That obeying when it's hard matters. That walking away from sin was not for nothing. You could have taken shortcuts, but you didn't. You could have compromised, but you didn't. And now, God is about to reward that obedience with favor that no man can take. You're not just walking into a breakthrough, you're walking into clarity. God is about to clear up every question you had. Why you had to go through that heartbreak, why you had to leave that place, why that door never opened. It wasn't rejection, it was redirection. It wasn't punishment, it was purification. And now clarity is coming. The fog is lifting. What once felt confusing will begin to make sense. The wisdom that God developed in the dark will suddenly shine in the light. And people will ask, "How did you come through this with peace?" And your soul will respond, "Because I trusted God more than I trusted what I saw." Some of you are about to step into rooms where your name has been spoken by people you've never met. You're about to receive provision from sources you never expected. The ones who overlooked you will be baffled by the hand of God on your life. And you won't even have to prove anything to anyone, because God will do the proving. When God lifts you, you don't need to convince. You don't need to defend. Your breakthrough will speak on your behalf. Your transformation will do the talking. And those who tried to bury you will have no choice but to watch you bloom. Let me tell you something powerful. When God brings a breakthrough, it's not always loud. Sometimes it comes quietly, like the turning of a page. You wake up one morning and everything feels different. The burden is gone. The fear has lifted. The opportunities begin to align, and you can't explain it, but you know deep down God has moved. You didn't force it. You didn't manipulate it. You didn't earn it. But it came. That's the fingerprint of God. Unearned favor, undeniable evidence. So don't misread the silence. God is not idle. He is orchestrating something so precise that even a second out of place would ruin it. That's why it hasn't come yet. That's why you had to wait, but you're not waiting in vain. Every second of that wait is filled with divine activity. Every moment of your obedience is being recorded. And when the fullness of time comes, what was delayed will be delivered, perfect, whole, and beyond what you imagined. Some of you need to stop thinking small. Stop limiting God with your doubts. Stop trying to fit His blessing into your limited perspective. What He's about to do doesn't fit into the framework of what you've seen before, your thinking job. God is thinking purpose. You're asking for rent. God is preparing to hand you land. You're seeking healing. God is planning to restore every broken piece of your past. Lift your faith, widen your vision, because the magnitude of this breakthrough will be according to the measure of your belief. This is the season where everything changes. Not gradually, not gently, but suddenly. God is flipping tables in your favor. He is reversing decisions made against you. He is opening files that were forgotten. He is sending helpers from unexpected places. And this time, you won't have to beg for what is yours. It will come to you. Not because you demanded it, but because you endured for it. You remained faithful when it didn't make sense. You praised when you should have panicked. You served when you were empty. And now, the heavens are releasing what was always assigned to your name. When it arrives, don't apologize. Don't minimize it. Don't downplay the blessing to make others comfortable. Let them see what God can do with someone who stays faithful. Let them see that trusting God is not foolishness. It is wisdom. It is power. It is alignment with the source of all things. And when they ask how you did it, don't boast. Just point them to God. Let your life become the evidence that faith is not fantasy. It is the very force that moves the unseen into the seen. And make no mistake, this breakthrough will demand more of you, more discipline, more prayer, more obedience. Because the blessing isn't the end, it's the beginning of a greater responsibility. God isn't blessing you to make you comfortable. He's blessing you to make you effective, to set you apart, to use you as a vessel for something eternal. And if you handle this breakthrough with humility, God will multiply it. If you steward it with integrity, He will expand it. If you walk in it with honor, He will sustain it. So prepare yourself, not just physically, not just emotionally, but spiritually. Clean your heart, purify your motives, let go of bitterness, jealousy, and offense, because these things choke the blessing. They block the flow. And God is not going to pour His glory into a vessel filled with poison. Let Him cleanse you now. Let Him refine you. Because what's coming is not ordinary, and you must be ready to carry it. You were not overlooked. You were being preserved. You were not forgotten. You were being protected. And now the wait is over. The page is turning. The sound of breakthrough is near. And when it comes, it will not just change your life, it will change how others see God. Because you will be the proof that those who wait on God will never be put to shame. You will be the living testimony that trusting Him through the valley brings you to the mountaintop. When God chooses to move, nothing stands in His way. No delay, no enemy, no limitation, no circumstance can block the decree of God. What God has willed for your life must come to pass, not because of your strength, but because His word does not return void. When He speaks, the heavens respond. When He commands, creation shifts. When He sends favor, no force on earth can reverse it. And right now, God is whispering into your season, it is time. Time for you to rise. Time for what was buried to live again. Time for the long nights to break into dawn. Time for the door that has been locked for years to swing wide open, not with effort, but with divine permission. Some of you have been walking around with a quiet ache, a spiritual heaviness that no one sees. You smile, you serve, you survive, but deep down your soul has been crying for more, not more money, not more attention, but more of God, a deeper connection, a clearer direction, a life that makes sense, a breakthrough that doesn't just patch things up, but rebuilds them from the ground up. And this ache is not a weakness. It is a calling. It is God tugging at the depths of your being, preparing you for the shift that is already underway. The waiting room is about to become the birthing room. You see, God is not just sending you a breakthrough to bless your circumstances. He is doing it to confirm His presence in your life, so that no one, not even you, can deny that He was the one who made a way when there was no way. This will not be the result of manipulation, favor from man, or luck. This will be the fingerprint of God, clear, undeniable, and holy. The type of breakthrough that silences every lie the enemy whispered to you in the dark. The kind of breakthrough that rewrites your story, heals your identity, and repositions your future. The world around you may not understand how you've endured. They don't know what it's taken for you to stand upright with all you've carried. They don't know about the nights you've laid awake, speaking to God with trembling lips and a heart full of quiet desperation. They haven't seen the internal battles, the fight to hold on, to believe, to not give up. But God has seen it all. And He did not just observe, He recorded it. He bottled every tear. He measured every sacrifice. And now He is responding. This breakthrough is not random. It is not delayed favor finally catching up to you. It is divine strategy set in motion before you even knew how to pray for it. And the reason it's going to shock you is because you thought this part of your life was over. You thought the door was closed forever. You thought that dream had expired, but God doesn't operate on expiration dates. When He resurrects something, it doesn't return in the condition it died in. It returns stronger. It returns with glory. It returns with evidence that God alone has power over time, death, delay, and disappointment. There is a sacred timing to everything God does. And just because you haven't seen movement doesn't mean things haven't been moving. The roots have been growing. The soil has been shifting. The environment around you has been rearranged. You may have felt forgotten, but God has been setting the stage. Not for your survival, for your emergence. You are not coming out the same. This is not a return to the past. This is the beginning of something new, something God has reserved for such a time as this. The most powerful moments in your life will often be born in silence, not in noise, not in applause, but in that deep, still place where God speaks a word that only your spirit can hear. And if you've heard that whisper, if your soul has felt the rumble of something coming, even if you can't name it yet, know this: you are on the brink. The ground beneath you is holy. The air is pregnant with promise. And all of heaven is leaning in, watching the fulfillment of what God has written about you. You don't need to chase people. You don't need to force opportunities. You don't need to manufacture your own miracle. When it's time, it will come to you. The blessing will recognize your address. The favor will know your name, because what is divine cannot be taken, duplicated, or missed when your heart is aligned with God's purpose. He is the one who lifts up. He is the one who establishes. And He is about to elevate you, not for vanity, but for visibility, so that others will see His goodness reflected through your life and be drawn to trust Him too. You will be a signpost, a living reminder that God still moves in power, that He still rewards faithfulness, that He still brings rivers into deserts and calls light out of the darkest corners. What you are about to walk into will not be temporary. This will not be a fleeting moment of success. It will be a sustained outpouring, a blessing with roots. A season that doesn't drain you but replenishes you, because God doesn't bless you just to lift you. He blesses you to anchor you. Prepare your heart. That's where it starts. This is not about perfection. It's about surrender. God is not looking for spotless performance. He is looking for clean intention, a heart that beats for Him, a spirit that trembles at His whisper, a life that says, God, I trust you even when I don't understand. That posture attracts the breakthrough. That humility draws heaven close, because God resists the proud, but He floods the humble with His power. Let this be the hour where you realign, where you shake off every lie, every distraction, every